What's up, y'all? And thank y'all for joining me for the Follow the Leader podcast. I'm your host, Nytelife. Know you see me anywhere and everywhere, but I'm here with you today. This is episode 68, and in the vein and in the spirit of Valentine's, episode 68 is Where's the Love? I have my little rose right here, I'm wearing my red, specifically to talk about some communication things in regards to relationships and people and stuff like that. Just, the normal. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the Follow the Leader podcast on the Mitchell Media Review Network. Thank you so much. If you downloaded the podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, if you checked out the clips on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, thank you so much. I appreciate any and all feedback that I get. So please comment, whether that be good, bad, or indifferent. I don't give a damn. I'll take it all. That's all that matters to me. Now, today, in the spirit of love, I want to talk about communication. Something that I vastly struggle with in regards to relationships, because I am the guy that wants to answer all of the questions before I hear the questions, which is bad. The value of communication in any type of relationship is gaining understanding. One thing that a person that is in communication with another person is they want to be heard, and they want to be understood, and they want to be felt. And you want to make sure that you're understood, you're heard, and you're felt as well. Sometimes we get in the debater mind state, and it's like we want to cultivate the reply. Now, me, I'm just a guy, memory is not that good. Bumped my head when I was like 7 years old and probably didn't really recover from that. Memory is not that great. I'm not gonna blame it on that, but still. So I automatically have what I call the theory of the youngest in a big family. The theory in the youngest of a big family is when it's dinner time, you want to make sure that you eat and you get there and you try to eat as quickly as possible before all of the food is gone. Instead of just sitting, enjoying the time, enjoying your siblings, enjoying your family, and eating, you're too busy trying to make sure that there's enough for you. And that's kind of where my mind goes in regards to communication, because it's like I want to make sure that my response is right. I want to make sure that my response is heard. I want to make sure that my response is just taken into account. So the rebuttal is important to me. But in the process of the rebuttal, you're not listening to what's going on. You've predicted what the other person is going to say, and you're responding based on your prediction of what they're going to respond to your thing that you just said. Instead of taking time and waiting. Guilty. Guilty of that at work, guilty of that at home, guilty of that with the kids, guilty of that with the wife, guilty. That's me. I've tried to take the time. I've tried to count to 10 in my head. I've tried to do those things. But when you're emotionally charged and you feel like you're either being treated unfairly or you feel that you are in a moment of imbalance, you want to respond to be able to get that person off you. And that's what triggers the argument. And I think taking the time to be able to consume the information that they're trying to give you, regardless of what the vessel is. If they're yelling and they're arguing and they're upset, you got to let them cycle through that. Just listen through that Find what it is that is the initial message out of all the bullshit that's happening at that particular time. And then acknowledge what you heard, craft your response, and respond. You don't have to respond immediately. You don't have to rush it. You just want you so defensive at that time because the person has put you on your heels. And you're so defensive at that time that you want to respond quickly and get them off you. No, I don't want to see your point because I want you to see my point. And that's where most of the, I guess, the toxicity of the arguments happen. It's hard when you get in situations like that because I think that you end up devaluing the other person. You feel devalued, and there's a loss of love in some aspects there. When communication is great, it's great. But when it's bad, it's horrible. So it's about taking time. My brother told me, he said, the key to being able to de-escalate any argument is to sit down and hold hands. If you hold hands, you look in somebody's eyes, they'll never be able to yell at you or elevate in that situation. I thought that was good advice. It gives you a moment to be calm. It gives you a moment to just breathe. It gives you a moment to really be able to hear where somebody's coming from. Aggravation is pain. Tears are pain. You have to make your way through some of those things to be able to get to that softer side of, this is what I was trying to say the whole time. And it's rough. It's rough to go through those things, but in the end, it builds. It builds your character. It builds a better relationship. It builds opportunity for y'all to be at some point of respect level. You don't want gaslighting to be thrown around. You don't want disrespect to be thrown around. You don't want blame to be thrown around. You don't want self-deprivation to be thrown around. You don't want none of that stuff. Get to the heart of the matter, figure out what it is, and move on from that. So after we take that dive, can we survive and then thrive? I look at that too because it's not just the relationship with the significant other, it's the relationship with your kids, because sometimes you can go through those things with your kids too. Sometimes there's a communication barrier because as parents, we expect things my way or the highway sometimes. I've been here longer than you, I know best. We don't give the opportunity for the kid to be able to create space and be able to tell you, well, hey, look, this is what I'm going through. You know, this is how I view things, and this is how this works for me. But we too busy telling them like, well, nah, you don't understand. I've been through this before. And you may have been through a variation of it before, but you haven't really gone through it in real time right now. So don't talk over and through them. You got to let them be able to express themselves and be able to respond accordingly to that. And when they need you, they'll come find you and ask. They'll ask you to fill in the blanks. Hey, what should I do? How do I approach this? When you're in a situation like this, what did you do? Then they'll start coming to you after that. But if you're in gatekeeper mode and you're always telling them what to do and always telling them what they need to do, then they're not going to come to you for advice. I should know. When things get bad, you've assessed them at being bad. Y'all meet together on the floor of the situation and go, okay, let's take an assessment and figure out if we can rebuild this. What do we have to do to be able to get on the common ground and move forward? See all the damage pieces. Let's put together the puzzle as far as how to rebuild it. Is this something that we can survive? And after we survive it, can we actually thrive and be better from our mistakes? It's hard when you're dealing with human beings. It's hard. You have your way of being able to view things, and you went through things and experiences in your life, and the other person has been through things and experiences in their life, and they look at things totally different than you do sometimes. You don't agree on everything. And if two people are like, my way is the highway, then that's where you don't build at. It's like, all right, well, where was it that you felt that things went bad for you? Things went bad for me here. What about you? Things went bad for me here. Okay, well then how do we get past that? Then you're in a moment of just being able to acknowledge and recognize it and be accountable. If you don't have accountability, y'all ain't moving forward. Both have to be accountable. I could have did this differently. I could have said this differently. I could have phrased this differently. You know what? I didn't even look at it from your standpoint when you were saying this and this and that because I was hearing this. So I'll try to do a better job of doing XYZ for you as long as you can kind of see where I was coming from about what I was saying. That way, there's not one person taking the full brunt of the responsibility of accountability. There are still two people when you argue, and both of them have to take some type of ownership of things when they go off the rails. And if they don't, and you have one person that's being accountable all the time, they're going to get sick of that shit and it's going to go bad. It's going to go bad. We also put ourselves in these situations where we want to change someone's behavior. We want to change someone's behavior. You need to do this better. You don't listen, or you don't do this, or you don't do that, or whatever it is it may be. You do this poorly. But it's up to the individual to be able to change that. The things that they do poorly, they have to course correct. The things that you do poorly, you have to course correct. But the point is that you have to be able to see that you do things poorly. That comes back to the accountability piece. Hey, I suck at this. Can you do that? Can you be accountable for not being emotionally available? Can you be accountable for not listening? Can you be accountable for not being the acknowledgement of the other person? the caring, the feelings, the understanding. Can you be accountable for being the it is what it is, build a bridge, get over it, and running over a person's feelings? Can you? People think that's a way of life and that should be understood, and you have to, but you don't. I don't have to live by those values, and you don't have to live by mine. But we have to find a way to meet in the middle, because if we don't meet in the middle, then what are we really doing here? When can we fix it? How do we fix it? And a lot of times this happens in long-term relationships. The relationships you've been with people for a really, really long time. Initially, when you first get together, you're in love and you look past all the faults. It's this person makes me feel like I've never felt before. So I'm into them and they're into me and we're into each other. And that's it. Looking past all of the things that may have been, eh, they did this, but hey, I love them. It's cool. But ultimately, as time goes and the callus builds and the individuality in relationships build, and you know what you like, and the other person know what they like, and there's expectation, then that's when things tend to create contentious situations. I've been telling you this for years. You still are doing it. We've been going through this for years, and you're still doing it. How come you can't just, how come you don't? Earlier in the relationship, we didn't have the confidence and we didn't have the comfort to be able to go to have those conversations. Hey, I need a little bit more of you from of this. If you're in early relationships, please make sure that you do that with your significant other. Just have those conversations. When things don't fit or things don't feel right, don't avoid them to try to keep harmony. Have the conversation. My expectation is this. I feel this way. This made me uncomfortable. I didn't like this. Can we fix this? Have those conversations early. It's fair to the other person to have those conversations because they don't be aware of that shit. And then 5 years down the road is like, I don't even, you're just in your mind like they're doing it again. They're doing it again. And the other person is just like, doing what? I don't understand. Because you didn't have a conversation. You just kind of let things happen. And that's where love is not enough. Understanding, I think, is higher rated than love at that particular time. You have to have understanding. You have to be able to be willing to meet people in the middle. You're not going to change 100%. If you are you, then you are you. There's nothing you can do about that. You brought you to the relationship, then you just brought you, and that's it. But as you bring yourself, you have to have an allotment of accountability to go, damn, I know I do this bad. She pointed it out again. So let me see what I can do to be able to make some type of adjustment, at least make some type of progress. You're not going to get it right 100% of the time, and you're going to be able to. Leopard never loses their spots. You're just going to revert back to that shit eventually anyway. You do. But I think the acknowledgement of it sometimes and admitting that that's an issue and correcting the issue as many times as you possibly can will help. Not in the severe cases of things, but just in the things that they're just the pebble in your shoe, the crooks of shit, the things that upset you, like that grind your gears, those type of things that you just be like really wear on you. You can make it past that if there is some type of acknowledgement by the person that's doing it. You're right. It's not, I'm sorry if it made you uncomfortable. I'm sorry if you took it that way. That's not accountability. I'm sorry if you took it that way, and I'm sorry if it made you uncomfortable. It's not accountability. The acknowledgement of what it is that you did. Yo, I did this. My bad. I need to be more mindful of not doing this in order to make sure that you feel good in the long run. Those type of just small acknowledgments in those places will help tremendously with being able to repair and rebuild and reset in the course of a relationship. I don't speak for all dudes, but accountability is like our priority at sometimes. We just want to know, okay, yeah, are we on the same page? You see where I'm coming from. Great. You feel where I'm coming from. Great. And I know that, y'all want understanding from us too. I get it. And I think we have understanding too. But I think that motto of who's always right and the wearing the pants and all that shit is like it's crazy. Because I think it gets taken too literally sometimes, to the point where the admission and the accountability of being wrong in a situation or not valuing somebody's feelings in a situation gets taken for granted because you fall back on well, I'm always right. I know best. Instead of looking at what the other person needed or how the other person feels at that particular time. And I know that we be kind of in the manage your own comfort thing, and managing your own comfort is cool. And sometimes you're just gonna have bad days where you're gonna be in a bad mood. There's a lot of shit happening, and you're not comfortable, you're not happy, and that bleeds into everything. That bleeds into relationships, that bleeds into relationships with kids, that bleeds into relationships with people, that bleeds into everything. Just bleeds into your whole day. And you have to be able to sidestep those moments. And when you're dealing with somebody that's having a bad day, to give them the space to have their bad day and then reassess and then help them rebuild. Hey, so what's going on with you today? Let them tell you, let them explain, let them get it off their chest, and just be there for healing, not to solve problems. When I'm expressing myself, I don't need you to solve my problems. If I ask you, what do you think? Then you're more than welcome to tell me what you think. But if I'm venting, I don't need you to course correct anything for me at that particular time. I just want to get things off my chest. I just want to let loose at that moment, listen to what those things are, feel where I'm coming from, and then I'll move forward. I feel better being able to get it off on you as far as a sounding board because you know me and I feel heard in that moment. I want to feel heard. But if you go into problem solving mode and what you need to do is this, and you should have did this, and I don't know why you didn't do that. You look, I want to hear all that. Don't tell me about what I should have did too. What I should have did was get in a time machine and do what you told me to do, so that way I didn't have this problem. Every time I hear what you should have did was you should have did this. That's immediately what I think. I can't go back and fix that. If I tell you that something happened and then I say, man, where did I go wrong at? What should I have done? Then you are open to tell me what it is that I should have done. You're open to that. I've allowed you. I've allowed you to enter the space to be able to give me your commentary. I gave you the space. But to just offer in a moment where I'm venting and you stop me from venting to tell me what I should have done, I don't want to hear that. Get out of my face with that shit. I don't want that. Listen, take in, acknowledge, help me feel better. My responsibility to you when I listen to you, your responsibility to me when you listen to me at that time. Unless I asked for your help, your opinion, your view and standpoint. Do not give me unsolicited advice or information when I didn't ask for it, especially in a moment where I'm pissed off, because you're just going to piss me off even more. And I know that works likewise for everybody else. Nobody wants to hear that. Just let me be mad. But anyway, happy Valentine's Day. The bottom line is, man, just spread love so you don't even have to deal with all that. Get past the communication hangups. Get back to love. Get back to a space of appreciation, acknowledgement, and love. Nothing replaces that. You can be as mad as you want to, but I think everyone will take love at some particular time. And it is a healing factor when things are not going right. When you are feeling overwhelmed. When you are feeling underappreciated. Love can solve a lot of that stuff. Just a matter of you being able to give it. All right. And that pretty much sums it up for the Follow the Leader podcast, episode 68. Thank you for joining me. Please make sure that you share, like, subscribe, comment, do all of the things that you need to do to make this podcast successful. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. But as always, you got 3 options when you're around these parts. You either lead, you follow, or get the hell out of the way. Peace, y'all.